Hello everyone, Vampire218 here, bringing you a follow-up series to the types analysis for the Draft League format of Pokemon video I made. I will now be going much into more detail about the specific Pokemon in that typing that you want, synergies with that type, strategies of that type, really diving deep more into what that type is about, rather than the brief overview I did. So, to start things off, I'm going to look over type 18, the lowest type of ice that I put on my list. So, to start things off, to explain more, ice I think is bad because it only resists itself and it has 4 weaknesses. So, right out of the bat, it's a very non-defensive type. It's a very offensive type in that it's super effective against 4 types, and that's pretty good. But it's also weak against 4 types. And the 4 types it's weak against, excluding itself, are very common. You will almost definitely see a steel type and a water type each week. So having an ice type not be able to do anything to them is pretty bad. Now, it is strong against flying, grass, ground, and dragon. And for flying, grass, and ground, there are many other types that cover these better than running an ice type move. Flying you can cover with rock and light and thunder, or electric types actually. You can run the thunder move, thunderbolt, volt switch. There's just so many electric type moves that'll do it, rock type moves that'll do it. Grass, you have fire and you have bug. And for ground, you have water. So you really don't need an ice type for those. Now for dragon's only weak to fairy, ice, and dragon. So that may be where you want it. Now, going into the specific Pokemon of ice type that you may actually want to draft, we have, starting off with Abomasnow. Now, Abomasnow, if you're going for a Hail team, you may want to pick up either Abomasnow or Mega Abomasnow. Its grass-ice typing makes it a very interesting typing. Having a quad weakness to fire is pretty bad, but those stats are really good. It is a very hard-hitting Pokemon on the both physical and offense and special side. It's got pretty good defenses, which make up for the pretty lacking defense stat types of the ice type. And its HP isn't nothing to scoff at, so it's worth picking up if you have that UU or NU slot open and you want to build a Hail team. Now, Articuno is PU, and it's PU for a reason. It's a very defensive flying ice type, and it's just not the best. It's got some okay moves on it. It brings up moves like it has roosts to heal. It gets good coverage, but overall, it's just there are better flying types in PU, and there are better ice types in general if you really want an ice type. I really am not a fan of the iceberg Pokemon, so I really don't want to cover them. Now, Cloyster having that water ice type coverage is very good. In addition, it is one of the highest defenses of all Pokemon, so it's really worth picking up. In addition, it gets Skill Link, so your Rock Blasts and your Bullet Seeds and whatever, all those types of moves gets boosted with Skill Link. Now, I know that Cloyster gets the Ice-type move, and I believe it gets the Rock-type one as well. So, Cloyster is actually a really good Pokemon, because you can use Shell Smash with it, and you're actually a threat to be dealt with now. Going down, Frostlass, having that Ghost Ice typing is actually pretty nice. It really makes for a tricky Pokemon that, Suicide Bombs. You're going to kill it no problem, but it's going to take you with it. And having that Ghost typing, in addition to the Ice type, means that it no longer has that weakness to fighting that Ice has. For a UU slot, it's pretty good. It's very fast, so it's worth picking up if you want to have that tricky Pokemon. I've never really been a fan of Glalie. I understand the utility of it. I understand it's going to hit really hard. It's fast, but I've just never been a fan of it. As a Mega, I just think there are better Megas you can put on your team. Now the Kyrums. The only 2 of which are allowed in the OU leagues are the OU one, which is Kyurem Black, and the UU one of Kyurem Hollow. Both are very valuable Pokemon to have. they hit like trucks with a 130 on Kyurem Hollow and a 170 on Kyurem Black. There is just nowhere you can go wrong. With the Teravolt ability, which is essentially Mold Breaker, you're going to be hitting everything you want to hit, and you're going to be hitting them hard. Now, the last two Pokemon I really want to go over here are Sneasel, and I guess Weevil at that point, Weavile, because they're basically the same Pokemon. But, you know, combining Ice and Dark, you do have that quad weakness to fighting. But you're actually a very tricky Pokemon at this point. And you do a lot of good things very well. You get priority, you get tricks, and that's really what you want in an Ice type. Ice is not meant to be defensive. You need to play it tricky and offensive. And having that Dark Ice typing together, it lets you do that. And the last one I really wanted to touch on was Vanillux. Vanillux is the epitome of glass cannon without actually being a glass cannon. It's going to hit really hard, and it has a very decent defense and special defensive stat. So, going into the moves, there aren't very many that you're going to want to see. You know, you may use Freeze Dry if you expect them to bring a water type. It's a big shock, and it gives those ice water types and your ice type a way of dealing with water type that isn't HP electric or HP grass. And this is really good, because that is very hard for the opponent to prep for, seeing that you bring a Freeze Dry. Now, there is Hail if you want to go for a Hail team, but if you're going for a Hail team, you want to pick up Abomasnow, I think. There's Ice Beam. This is probably going to be your go-to for special attackers, and then Ice Punch / Ice Fang for your physical attackers. There's Ice Shard, which is your priority, and that's pretty good that you get a priority move. You know, Ice types are not really known for their speed. Some have very good speed, but in general, it's their special attack that you want. So having access to priority means that you can get that kill when you need it and not rely on speed. And you get, you know, Sheer Cold, which it's never going to hit. But the only other move of real interest here is Blizzard, which is really good on a Hail team because that accuracy goes up to 100. Now, the status or affliction that is related to Ice is the Frozen type. And you will see that there is no move here that I'm seeing that just outright freezes a Pokemon. And this is because Frozen is the most powerful status in my opinion. You can't take any action, and you know, there's only a couple moves that outright just dethaw you, and they're all, I believe, fire. That is why you'll see, you know, 10% chance to freeze, 10% chance to freeze, 10% chance to freeze. You don't get any higher because it is like a super sleep. They can't even do things like sleep talk or whatever during it. They are just stuck until you're done. So overall, that is why I've put Ice so low on my list. It's just, it doesn't have the utility it needs. The Mons in it aren't really the best. They take a lot of damage from, you know, pretty common typings. And there's just, you look at this and, you know, you can build a Hail team, but there are better teams to be built around different types. I've been Vampire218, bringing you what I believe to be the reasons behind why I put Ice at number 18 on my list of Pokemon types and the Draft League analysis. If you like this video and you want more Pokemon Draft League content, please remember to like, share, favorite, and subscribe to my videos. Bye!